Welcome back to Desynced. My name is Nilaus and I am here with another cool design and some blueprints for you so that you can enjoy this game even more and get a little bit more, make it a little bit more accessible. It is an amazing game, but it is also a tricky game, and if you are not sort of have the heart and tenacity of a programmer or engineer, then you can easily get stuck with something that just seems like really overwhelming. But if you piece together a little bit of a programming and some logic, then you actually have something that is really neat. And that's what we have here, something that's really neat. This is combining some of the things that we have discovered over the course of this series, and also combining some of the findings we've had before. So this is an automatic hub. So we built a hub previously that was sort of a collection of buildings here that were serviced by drones, and it didn't work. So why did it not work? Well, the reason why it didn't work is because if you have something in here that is being requested, let's just take a normal request. Here, let's make a few of those because we always need more haulers. So these requests here coming from this, for some reason that I cannot comprehend, it is lower priority than a request that comes from a behavior. So if a request comes from a behavior, it has higher priority than a request coming from a production request, even if you set the production request to high priority. What this means is that with this setup, since this is a very drone heavy setup, let's say that you're running short on energized plates, because you're always running short on the energized plates. So what will happen is that the energized plates will be running out, and because they're running out, then none of these will be brought into this location for the energized plates. And because of that, they will just be stuck, and I've been having it stuck for hours, and then just having to wait until all of this got saturated. And that means you have to saturate this build here with all these energized plates requested, all of this one with all the energized plates requested, and only once they are full, and this one is full, and any subsequent in the chain, then we can start building up a storage here, and that storage will then be finally, after everything else is said and done, get brought back into the normal request, the production requests. So that is a problem. So that is, and I don't know, and I think it's wrong. I think it's a bug, but maybe it'll be fixed, I hope. But until then, I have found that, well, what if we then use the requesters for this? And on top of that, instead of requesting into everything, then how about we request everything into a location? Use the stuff we learned in the previous episode with having a chain, so that this one just pushing it down the chain here. And they all have this. Yes, it's an awful lot of resources that I'm storing here. But on the other hand, I also have now everything being produced exactly as I want it. So how does this work? Well, it consists of 3 different builds. I'm calling it the auto hub. It's consisting of the requester. This is the one we have here, and that's the one we're going to be looking at. So it is the simplest of programs. It simply just requests everything we want to have. And you might look at it and go like, well, you only have 1 left. Yep, I only have 1 left. I am keenly aware of this, but I can put 2 more of the small sockets in, and if need be, I can probably increase this to something else. And I'm also pretty sure that I have most of the things. Aside from this bug chitin, it might not be something that's absolutely essential. I think it's only used for the hive down here. And then basically, I have this. Then I'm going to need to transport it. Then I have another building that is coming here from the auto hub. That is called the bus. And what it does is it simply has stored all the location. It has no logic. It simply just pushes it on. It has the store location set to the next, set to the next, set to the next, set to the next, and so on and so forth. That means it pushes everything down the line. It's also important that these ones are set to only transporters. I've set them on channel 3 just to make absolutely sure that no one has any fancy idea to come in here, and they will be set up here. So that is also a good thing. The last one is out here. We have these builds, and how do they work? The factories. This is a little bit more complicated, and because they have to do 2 things. This program has to request things, and it has to make sure that the limit is not done. And because of some weird kinks and quirks in the way that it works, and I've been trying a lot of things back and forth, I was really hoping that I could have this one, the portable transporter, push things in to the side here, but that doesn't work. And the reason it doesn't work is because, let's see, these have to be on channel 1, and they need to be provided. If they are also set to requests, If they're set to request, then they will request from here as well as from the global network, which means this inserter or this portable transporter will throw one in, and then the other items will be requested from the network, which is exactly what I wanted to provide. I want to make sure that there's no requesting from the network. Therefore, I've had to set this to disable the request. And if as soon as I disable the request, or if I enable the request, then they will request from the global network, which I do not want. They have to be on the global network because they also have to be available to the global network. I can't say only request from channel 3, but provide to channel 1. Unfortunately, that would just be a lot of more combinations, but that's not possible because that's really what I want. I wanted to request from channel 3, which is the bus, and I wanted to provide to channel 1, which is sort of the general logistics network. Now, since that's not possible, then I had to remove the request items and then control the request by using a behavior. As I do that, it cannot request from here. It has to also have a portable transporter. So it gets a little bit more expensive because they need each one need a behavior controller and a portable transporter. But once you set it up, it's just magical and it works. So again, we will take a look at now the program. Now you know what the program is supposed to do and why it's built like this. Then let's have a look at how it works. Can we just pause you? No, I don't actually need to pause you. So the first thing it does, as I said, it has two functions. It checks the faction amount. This is what we also did in the previous setup for the hub limit, but it's worth going through again. It takes parameter 1. Parameter 1 is what would we like to build. So this is the only thing you need to set when you set up a new one. Let's go up here for setting up a new one. Let's take that one. And yeah, so let's take you. You will be just set up what is it you want to build. Something you want to build. Let's say a beacon, because we don't have that. You set it to maximum, and then it will automatically figure out how many do we have in the network. And this is the max build in the network. And this is what is now being requested. So what it does is it checks how much in the network. If the answer is less than, this is how many, we store that as 2, how many in the network. Then we compare the number of how many we have in the network versus how many we want to have maximum build. If it's more than what we need, then I shut it down. And if it's less, then it's going to be keep working here. And this is probably because it's somewhere else. Let's just add this one up here too. So right now, for example, this is now, it has 3 in the network and there are 3 max build. Then it shuts this one off because I don't want it to come pick up this one. It'll have to come pick up for somewhere else. So that's the only thing you need to do. You can see that it actually requests the items that are needed to come in here. And that's basically, so if it turns on, then it will start identifying ingredients. Let's see, let's just make this a higher number so that it gets activated again. And you will then see that it requests numbers here. Let's see, does it work? Yes, it's actually building it, and it just requests exactly what we need. So the way it works is it takes P1, that is what do you want to build, gets the ingredients 1, 2, and 3. There are no things in the game that has more than 3 ingredients. That's also nice to know. And you basically says request this, and request this. I have also set it up with a request where it requests a full stack, but it does actually have problems if you set up a request with a full stack, because if you set up a request with a full stack, then it will a request for a full stack means that there will be some available here. For example, there would be 20 and only one of them is dedicated here, and that means the other 19 are available. And since this one has to be set to supply in order to supply the beacons, then it will also supply those 19. That means it'll take the 19 and go back down here, and then they'll be swishing up here, get pushed into this one, and so on and so forth, and creates a little bit of an infinite loop. In this case, not a super hard one because it can just get in a steady state, but it can also just end up being just a little bit of excess anywhere that will be sort of brought back into the network, and that's definitely not what we want. We don't want it to have the stuff that is inside these to come back into the network. So those are the 3 things that actually comprise this, and then you just set up everything like this. There are a few reasons or things that are different, and I'll just go through a few of them. For example, this one, these have to be built next to each other because the ingredient for the blight turret is the normal turret. But if I just set it up here, in here I have this set up with 20 and then request 1 setting up to just one because I don't want it to request more than one. It's important because if you request too many small turrets, then it'll fill up the inventory of small turrets. So, and on top of that, you have to make them next to each other so that they can use their inserters here to grab from the other one. There are a few other things that also have other ingredients that actually don't stack, and those are the ones that you have to be mindful of. So if something has an ingredient, as an input ingredient that doesn't stack, or that stacks to 20, that doesn't stack to 20, then it's gonna be, it could be a problem. I have decided to build everything, and there are a few things I think I don't have built. Let me see if I can come up with what that was. I think it was like, I'm not building these. Anything that is an intermediate product, I'm not building. Anything that is I could build a drone package for that matter, but there are a few things that required. I think it's this one. This one requires a blight magnifier, requires a purple cube. That would mean that if I wanted to build this on the hub, I would have to get purple cubes in here, and that means 20 purple cubes in all the way just for one item. I just don't really think that's a good idea, so I have elected not to do that, and that's something you can consider yourself. For example, the hive here, the robot hive, is the only thing that requires the bug chitin, so you're bringing the bug chitin in for just that one. The other thing is I am also adding stuff that I don't have yet. For example, we don't have a supply of transformers, modulars, engines, aluminium rods, and microprocessors, and potentially other things as well that come into the that are part of the human tech tree. But that's something we'll just add when we get it. I can add 2 more here without too many complications in terms of just getting the very small socket. Like, what do they call it? That's called this one, right? That one, yes. So I could just take these in here, and that would give us 2 more storage. Let's see. There, just a little bit more storage. And oops, these are important to make sure that they are blocked off. So we can get a few more storage if we really need it. Of course, we need to propagate it down here as well. And I think that's going to be fine. And if you really need it, you can take the bug chitin out and then just deal with it in another way. So this will give you a hub that can build everything you want. It'll be super available. It'll stop producing if you, for example, as I do, have a lot of junk in these boxes here from things that you have created and deconstructed as well. Then those will just be sitting here and prevent the hub from building any more of them until this has been consumed. So that is actually all there is to it. And of course, as usual, if you are a patron supporter, then you can get it super easy. You can just download the save game, and if you're on the save game, you can and I'll just walk through it. There are 2 ways to get the behaviors and blueprints into your game. You can either take the file that also I have available called profile save and then overwrite your own one, but then you overwrite all your own programs. That kind of sucks. So the easiest way is you go into my save game, and then you look at this one, and then if you want to take this blueprint, you simply just save it as a blueprint for yourself. Or if you are, or here, if you want the program, you go here and save it as your own blueprint. So that's the easiest way to get the blueprints, and of course that is for the Patreon supporters. So thank you very much everyone who's supporting on Patreon, for everyone who's following this series, both here on YouTube and over on Twitch. On Twitch, that's where we do all of the experimentation and designing, so that we can have more consistent builds here for YouTube. So with that, thank you for watching. Until next time, take care and stay effective.